Okay friends, one of the first things we have to do to get started on our job is to safely raise and support the front of the vehicle so the wheel's off the ground. After that, remove all of your lug nuts and then the wheel. Now that the wheel's out of the way, we have a nice clear view of our tie rod ends. In between the two, there's going to be a jam nut. We need to go ahead and break this free. Grab onto that. Once you have it broken free, let's continue on to removing the cotter pin right here, removing the nut, and then removing the outer tie rod end from the knuckle. Now, of course, we need to separate the outer tie rod end from the knuckle. To do this, typically I like to use a hammer, and I'm going to bonk right along the knuckle right here, but of course you want to be very careful not to damage anything else. Now at this point, we're going to start unscrewing our outer tie rod end from the inner tie rod end. As you do this, count the amount of times it takes to remove it. 1, 2, and so on. All right, I got 17 for my application. Your number might be different. Now it's time to install the outer tie rod end. Of course, when we do this, we're going to be putting it onto the inner tie rod end, and of course we're going to be turning it clockwise, the same amount of turns as it took to remove it initially. 1, 2, and so on. Now we can take this, line it up with our knuckle, put on your nut. Once you have this snug, go ahead and torque it to 35 foot-pounds. The next thing you want to do is ensure that the castle nut is lined up with the hole of the stud of the tie rod. If it's not, you need to continue tightening until it is, and then we'll go ahead and put in our locking cotter pin. Now it's time to go ahead and lock down this jam nut. Let's press it all the way up against the outer tie rod end. We'll snug it up, and then you're going to torque this to 59 foot-pounds if you have the ability. Okay, now you notice when I was tightening this, I made sure that I held the outer tie rod end while I did this. The reason for that is because I don't want to be twisting the outer tie rod end and potentially damage it along the way. Now at this point, you just want to double check everything that you took apart, make sure it's put back together properly. After that, let's go ahead and get our wheel up on here. We'll start all of our lug nuts on, snug them up, get the wheel on the ground, and then we'll torque them all to 100 foot-pounds. Torqued. Okay friends, so we got our tie rod in there. What's left to do now? Go ahead and safely take your car for a road test down to your local alignment shop for a 4-wheel alignment.